Hello and welcome to a Catholic Pokematic controversy thing. I am me. I'm here to do a little bit of a crossover because I've got a fair amount to say with Wish. That fits both monikers, so let's get into it. So I saw Wish over the Thanksgiving weekend, and it's got quite a lot to say about it. So, what is Wish? I'll start out with some spoiler-free elements of this. It is a story about a teenage girl who gets a wish on a star, and she needs to use the wish in order to try to free her kingdom. And it's got some fun musical numbers in it, and it's got that sort of stuff. So first, I'll go into the spoiler-free elements with the Pokematic interests. So, first off, with Wish, this is the closest that we've gotten to 2D animation from Disney in quite a while. So, you got all these 3D animations where everything's in a big 3D world. But this, it was very creative in what it did. So, most of the time it's okay, you might get a little bit of skin definitions or whatever, but everything, it's very kind of flat or smooth. Yeah, smooth, that's the word. It's very smooth, it's very uniform, and it's all right, but it just doesn't have a lot of texture to it. This movie, oh man, does it have texture. So every single character design, first off, the backgrounds, they feel like they are painted backgrounds, very similar to that of classic Disney movies that Walt Disney and company made 80, 90 something years ago, where it was cell animation on top of the painted mural backgrounds. And it's got a lot of that feel to it, which is great. We haven't seen that. So much where it's was it Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen and Zootopia? Yeah, Zootopia, Disney, whatever. But all the different 3D animated movies of Disney, the characters feel like they are just in their world. It's a 3D rendering of everything. And it's just kind of bland. It's just very samey. Whereas this one, again, it just feels like I'm back in the old days of Disney, where they had the oil painting backgrounds, which is very, very cool. I loved seeing that. It looked so great. And at times it also didn't exactly feel like it was super detailed. They had the detail in order, because they needed the detail to look good or whatever. It was just it had some details at times, and then other times it was a little bit more blank, but it all worked so well, and I really, really love that. And then the character designs and models and whatnot. So it is 3D. It's 3D computer renderings of characters and 3D models, but it's not rendered in 3D. It's rendered in kind of like a 2.5D. So you still got some of the whole definitions and dimensions, but it's not the full. It's not oh look, they're just bending and whatnot. It kind of feels okay, they're a little flat, which is good, because that it kind of feels like a squishy sticker, if that makes sense. Where there's a little bit of 3 dimensions to it, but it's not a fully 3D rendered object, if you can see. So it looks really good, and I really like that look, because again, we don't get 3D movies anymore. We don't get 2D movies anymore. We don't get hand-drawn 2D animation anymore, or 2D computer rendered 3D animation anymore. It's always 3D. But it's the Bob's Burgers movies. That was the only 2D animated movie in decades, or at least in this decade so far. And it's come on, where are they? But it looked really great. And then also, like as I was saying, everything looks so smooth in other, like in a Frozen or Incredibles or in Illumination and Despicable Me or the Mario movie or Shrek or anything like that, unless a character is furry. At which point, okay, yeah, they have the fur animation, but it's just fur. Like you'd expect that, and a lot of times it still feels kind of flat. This one, what it did is that it kind of felt like it had those imperfections of the hand-drawn cells. Like what you would find if you were watching like a Robin Hood or the Aristocats or The Rescuers or 101 Dalmatians, where yeah, there are some minor imperfections because everything is hand painted, everything is hand inked. So it has that texture to it, and just chef kiss is just so great. It looks amazing, and I absolutely loved the way that it looked. I was just taken away by it. And then the other thing is that, like, this is kind of a Mr. Erner thing that he pointed out, is that this movie is not a road trip movie. It's not like, oh, we start here and then, oh, we're going to go to all these different lands and all that. That has become just a trope of animated films. No, this one, it takes place in the city limits, and it's mostly within the city limits. I mean, there's a couple of scenes where like they go out into the forest and whatnot, but it's not like, oh, we're going to go out into the forest and then the rest of the movie is going to take place in the forest. No, it's just like it's there for a scene or two, but most of the time it takes place within the city limits. It's not a road trip movie, which is, yeah, after that's been pointed out to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess everyone kind of is that way. So when it's not that way, it's really good. It's a breath of fresh air. It feels great. And I really definitely enjoyed that. Then, let's see. Just one thing that's like, we haven't had this in so long, is that the villain, we know who the villain is from the start, and he's a villain that just loves to be evil. He's not necessarily, yeah, sure, we get some explanation as to why he's evil, but the explanation as to why he's evil does not justify his evil ways. So that's great. It's not like, oh, he was troubled and he's going to have like this redemption arc, or, oh, it's the twist. What a twist. No, it's just like, he's the villain in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. It's explained, it showed off that he is the villain. We're given his motivation as to why he's villainous, and his motivations are kind of lackluster. So he's a villain just because he loves to be evil, and that is so amazing. I love having that again, because it's like the evil queen from Sleeping Beauty, from Snow White. Why was she evil? She was just kind of jealous, and therefore that's why she had her stepdaughter ordered her killed. Maleficent, she was jealous of the other fairies, so that's why she cursed Sleeping Beauty. Cruella de Vil, she just wants to have dog skin coats. Nothing spectacular, she just is evil. Which is, that's great to see. So to have a villain where it's not like with Hans, where he goes through the movie and it's like, oh, is he seems like a decent fellow, until right at the end where, oh, but now I am evil. And, or like with, Nutcracker in the Four Realms, where it was like, the queen, the evil person, got redeemed or whatever. So it's just evil for evil's sake. And it's great to see that again in the animated movies. So I'm so happy about that. And then there's the last element of this that is Pokematic related, and that is that there's a fair amount of Easter eggs. Like, because this movie is like meant to celebrate the 100 years of Disney, like ever since Walt Disney made Oswald the Lucky Rabbit for, like, what was it, Warner Brothers or Paramount or whatever. I don't remember who he made Oswald for, but, like, since this is meant to celebrate 100 years of Disney magic, there's a fair amount of references to classic Disney movies. Not a ton to where it is glaring and annoying, but there's enough to where it's just like, oh, hey, that's awesome. Oh, wait, are they really? Yes, they are. That is cool. I like seeing that. And then, like, at the credits, they show, they have, like, a drawing from, I want to say, every single Disney movie, Walt Disney animated feature film since Snow White. So that was really cool to see, and I enjoyed that. It was fun to just be like, oh, hey, what's that? Hey, I recognize that. I recognize that. So that was really cool. I enjoyed that. It was all great. So just from spoiler-free Pokematic Disney fan, that is what I have to say on that. So the next is going to be the Catholic Controversy spoiler-filled analysis. So if you don't want that, you can click away now, jump to the end card if you feel so inclined to do. But now it's time for me to go into the politics and social commentary of this movie and why it is really a true to return to form and why it works so well. So this all comes down to who the villain is and what the struggle is. The kind of story that this is man versus society. This is man versus government. And the villain, he is a sorcerer. And what he does is he takes all the citizens of his kingdom, they give him their wish to hold on to on their 18th birthday or when they join the kingdom. And he puts them into the wish area. And then if it is a good wish, then he will grant the wish in the wish granting ceremony. And when you give your wish to the king, you forget what the wish is, but he holds on to it for safekeeping. It's a very good story of the kind, benevolent, loving, helpful politician and government until you see his true colors. So what he does is he holds on to the wishes and he refuses to grant any wish that could possibly jeopardize his power. And we see this through the grandfather's wish. So the grandfather is like 98 and the girl, she tries to be the the helper person to the king, the sorcerer's apprentice, if you will. I don't think they call her that, but that's basically it. And she sees her grandfather's wish and she's like, can you grant this wish? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I can't do that, because what he wants to do is he wants to create his wishes to make something that will inspire. Now, what will he inspire? Maybe he will inspire people to revolt against the king. I can't have that. So his wish will never be granted. Same with so many other people's wishes. They want to challenge. Their wish could challenge my power, and I must continue to rule over them. That and the entire movie now is the girl basically leading a revolution against the king. She gets a little bit of extra power from wishing on a star. And when he feels that there is a wish upon a star to where there is another possible source of magic, a source of power, he says, I cannot have that. I cannot have a political opposition. I have to live and rule completely unopposed. And I gotta continue to keep these people stupid, ignorant, placid of the true nature of this kingdom. So he's an authoritarian government. And the entire movie is about trying to overthrow the authoritarian government and return the power to the people. Because when the people get their wish back, then they become strong. They become independent. They can go without the king. They don't need the king anymore. They're not just sitting there waiting for their wish to be granted, living on welfare, if you will. They're out there doing it for themselves. And then, as she's going through this, the king, she has to keep everything hush-hush quiet. And her one friend who's very loyal to the king and doesn't want to star feathers, he's like, oh no, we gotta tell on her. We gotta turn her in. You know, kind of similar to that of the communist snitching. The whole Red Scare-ish thing, you gotta turn in your neighbors. Like what they did during COVID, if you will. And then what he does is that he's like, okay, I will grant whoever wish will turn in my political opposition. I will work for you. And then near the end, when the wishes get returned through deception and tricking the king in order using his own vanity against him, they get the wishes back to everyone. And now everyone is empowered again. Oh, and while he's doing this, in the big climax of trying to overthrow the kingdom and the big sort of battle of wits and ideologies, he kills some wishes in order to frame his political, the girl, her friends, and the wishing star. And he goes to forbidden magic in order to end up squashing any challenge to his throne. You know, that kind of sounds like a lot of authoritarian governments out there. You know, like you might see that in like China or Venezuela or Cuba or Russia or Canada. So you'll see that in a whole bunch of different left extreme authoritarian governments. You know, kind of the things that see a lot of going on right now, where you don't have people are just losing their rights left and right. And he uses the forbidden magic and it corrupts him. You see the corruption of the power that he wields and how having all that power is toxic to the human soul and how you should not be trying to gain so much power. Then when everyone gets their wishes back, they stand up to the government. They stand up to him and he tries to make them kneel, make them subservient again. But because they have their wishes back, because they have their freedom and independence back, he is powerless to stop them. They stand up, they resist, they do not comply. And they rise up and he's like, no, no, no. And then through battle, he gets warped back in, he gets sucked into the power that ended up corrupting him in the first place, or further corrupting him because he was already corrupt. And the entire movie is about taking your rights back from an oppressive government. Just the simple thing of the power of the wish, the power of the human will, and how you should not be giving that over to the government, how you should seek the independence and the freedom, which is, it's a great message, and it's pretty based. And it's the kind of movie that Walt would agree with, that Uncle Walt would agree with. Because it's like Walt Disney, he wasn't, he wouldn't agree with what's going on now with Disney. So it's really amazing that Disney put this out there because, how they're always now lobbying for the government's more government control. How they put out a movie that is anti-government control, anti-censorship, anti-authoritarian, pro-libertarian, pro-freedom. So it's quite amazing that Disney put this out there. So it's just a great movie. I highly recommend going out and seeing it and supporting it and saying, hey, Disney, this is the kind of things that we want. So, yeah, this has been Catholic Controversy and Pokematic signing off, and bye-bye, and may God bless you. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the end card. I do end cards for these sort of things. So, yeah, as you can tell, I really enjoyed it. I had two different philosophies that I want to take on this. I want to offer two different perspectives. So I hope that you enjoyed that. And yeah, I think that this is just it's a good movie just as a movie that I think did a really good job of paying homage to 100 years of Disney legacy. And that just also has a good message, a good wholesome message of a healthy distrust of government and pro-freedom, pro-liberty, anti-authoritarianism. And I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that Disney would make this nowadays. But you know, it's like it's very much like with Robin Hood. You know, the furry Robin Hood, where you got Robin Hood stealing from the rich to give to the poor, but when you actually break it down, it's taking from the government that unrightfully took from its citizens. And that's very much this movie, is that it's a movie about a government who unrightfully took more than it should have from its citizens, and it's given that ill-gotten gains back to the citizens. And I don't remember the trivia of if Walt Disney actually had any fingerprints on Robin Hood. It's been so long, I just don't remember, but it comes from that time where it has like that kind of rough animation, where it has like the not as clean lines and transition frames and smear frames, and it's very kind of uneven and rough, similar to like what you got with like 101 Dalmatians and The Jungle Book, two movies that I know for sure that Walt Disney had a hand in The Jungle Book. So I don't remember if Robin Hood was made by Walt Disney or if he just was in production before he died or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of got that same kind of mentality and methodology and messaging. So it's a good movie. It's good politically, and it's good just entertainment wise. So yeah, there's that. End card things. The only other Pokematic controversy thing that I can recommend is the I Feel Pretty review, where I discussed what was it? I don't even remember her name right now. But that movie where it was like, the big controversy of whether or not it's progressive or not progressive enough or privileged or whatever, but then it just ended up not being a very good movie on its own. So it's like, why are we even arguing about this? This movie just isn't good by its own merits. Amy Schumer, that's her name. Yeah, it was that Amy Schumer movie where she's like, oh man, I'm delusional and I think I'm beautiful, but really not. I'm still my fat, ugly slob self. But then people were like, but she's still conventionally pretty because she's blonde and white and not disabled. And so, but it's like feminism or whatever. So it's like, but it's not going far enough. And just like, it's just a terribly made film. So yeah, this is the opposite of that, where it is a good movie on its own and a good movie by it politically in terms of messaging and whatnot. So yeah, I give this my 5-star, 2 thumbs up, whatever the good rating is. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's still very, very good. And it's something that we haven't seen in a long, long time. So that's good to have again. Other things, you can like, upvote, buzz, whatever you need to do to show your love. I don't know why I still include buzz. I don't upload to Bitlanders anymore because Bitlanders doesn't do this. Why am I even talking about that? But yeah, you can do whatever you need to do to show your love. If you want, as I kind of alluded to, I rarely do this. So before I recommend subscribing, check out my other stuff first. Check out some of my other videos before you say, oh, hey, I like this guy and what he does. Because I have no idea when the next time I'm going to do another one of these kind of videos. So, and honestly, I haven't done a whole lot of movie reviews recently or TV reviews. And I don't really talk about the politics of movies very frequently, and the ideologies of movies. So it's like, be sure to check out what else I have. Click on my channel and see what else I upload. Whatever, if you're watching this on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChutes. I think those are mine. Anywhere else that I might be uploading this. But if you do like it, hey, I would appreciate that sub. So yeah, I make very weird end cards. It's just what I do. I ramble. Just because I try to have fun. I don't want to just make this just be, hey, be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Bing, bye. No, I like to have some fun with these. So yeah, check those out. It's like there's a couple of different ways that you can support me. I mean, it's like I've got an ebook out. It's a spoof of the Forge, or a spoof of the Crucible and the Salem Witch Trials. Kind of a Mel Brooks kind of inspired style of writing. That's kind of old school style of spoof. So yeah, check that out. It's a good book. And that would help support me and help this out, and you get a little something extra. And there's also a Patreon if you want to do that. I know I've got a couple of other affiliate links down there. Maybe it all depends on what I'm got down there. But it's not that's necessarily like sponsored. I'm not really receiving money for talking about them. It's just if you end up supporting them, it helps me out, but no pressure, whatever. I just do this for fun, and for fun I shall continue to do, because I've been doing this for close to 15 years, 16 years. I think it's been 14 years since I uploaded my first video now. So I haven't made anything on this. So whatever. If you want to help, you can. If you don't, you don't. I'm still good. I'm not going anywhere. I still do this. It's all just for fun. Where am I going with this? I don't know anymore. Oh yeah, I also have my Twitter, which is just where you can keep up with everything that I put out. Because I don't just make videos. I also have do written reviews and stuff where it's like I want to think about phrasing and how I structure everything, because as you can see, I kind of do this off the cuff. I'm not exactly scripted right now, so yeah, if I really want to do a full deep dive analysis of a movie, or if it's just one where I just kind of don't want to just talk about it, I want to just write about it, I write there. And then I also just do my adventures. I have talk about just various different stories and stuff that I do. Sometimes these appear as vlogs, but most of the time they are blogs, because while I do take a lot of video, a lot of times I just want to write about it, write out the memories, just because editing is annoying. But where am I going with any of this? I don't know. It's been a long Thanksgiving weekend, so yeah, I'm just rambling, going on and on and on, whatever. I'm going on 9 minutes now with the end card, so yeah, that's what you can expect from me if you ever come across my end cards. I just ramble, go on and on and on. I hope you're enjoying the end card, and if you made it this far, say pickles. I don't know, it's just the word that came to mind. Pickles, Szechuan sauce. Now I'm doing Rick and Morty memes for some reason. I don't know. Whatever. I'm ending this now. Bye.